Hello and welcome to the Mums Mean Business online event. My name's Laura Morrison and I run the Game Changer Consultancy, and we're supporting Business Crowd who've brought together this event. And one of the supporters who is being featured in the spotlight later this week is Lindsey Fish from Little Fish and Mums Enterprise Roadshow. So welcome, Lindsey.
Hello there, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about when you started your business journey and what pushed you into doing that. What was the reason for starting your own business?
Well, Little Fish Event Management launched in June 2014, and I set up the event management agency instead of returning to work after maternity leave. It's quite a common conundrum. I've spoken to there's thousands of women like us where this happens. Is I had a job in the city. I haven't got any family near me, and obviously full-time childcare is really expensive. So when I was on maternity leave, I started planning to launch my own business. And event management is just something I was confident in I could deliver as a service.
Okay. And what was the corporate job that you were doing before you left to set this up?
I was a marketing manager for a city tech company. It sounds really weird of why I chose events, but I've always done events as an apprentice. When I was 16 for an events company, that's like 16 years ago. So and events have always been part of my career from the tender age of 16 as an apprentice. And obviously marketing, events are always involved in marketing roles as well. I just wanted to broaden my horizons a bit with that, which I'm really pleased I did. So yeah, events have been my passion for over 16 years.
And that's really important, isn't it? I think if you're setting up a business for yourself, particularly as a mum, where you've got to carve out that time to focus on the business as long as with your family, to do something that you're really, really passionate about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I even during my research stages, I did consider doing a marketing and events agency. But marketing, although I'm qualified in it and I've done it for years, I know there's more expert marketers out there than myself. But when it comes to events, I knew 100%. There was no doubt in my mind that I could deliver that as a service. So that's why I just chopped off the marketing and just focused on the events, because I was confident in that. And obviously, if you're confident in it, then you're passionate about it, and you just feel that you can actually sell yourself then.
Obviously, part of what you're doing is Mums Enterprise Roadshow. Is it predominantly other mothers in business that do make up most of your client base, Lindsey?
Yeah, so what happened with the Mums Enterprise Roadshow is Little Fish Event Management is actually a corporate B2B event management agency. So we do a lot of award ceremonies, exhibitions and conferences for clients. The Mums Enterprise Roadshow is actually my own event idea, which I never even expected to do when I launched Little Fish in 2014. But it was just because going through the experience of setting up a business after maternity leave, mixing with a new circle of friends, conundrum about what to do about work after maternity myself, that it just opened up this whole new world of all these ambitious mums, just like me, who want to take control of their working life. And the Mums Enterprise Roadshow is a work and business event for mums. So it's for mums with a fire in their belly. It's for mums, like literally, that was in my scenario, and so many of us. And it's the mums who want to take control of their working life, want to find work opportunities, flexible work, home-based opportunities, franchise opportunities. And also for those mums who actually already run a business but want to really grow it and have huge aspirations. So the actual Mums Enterprise Roadshow is my own event idea, and it all came about because of my own experiences of launching a business myself.
Wow.
So it's scary. It's very scary. This is the scariest thing I've done, because I've never, it's not a client event, this one. It's my own. So it's scary, but even more exciting.
Lovely. And so have you already ran a roadshow? Have you got ones in the pipeline? And how many women are you reaching with this, Lindsey?
Yeah, so this is the first year. I've been planning this event now for probably almost a year. I can't believe it. There's two coming up in Hertfordshire in June. There's one on a Thursday, the 9th of June, and another one in Broxbourne, Hertfordshire, on Saturday, the 18th of June. And they're full day events, 10 till 5. We've got 30 exhibitors at each, all focusing on offering mums work opportunities or services and support to grow a business, or find out what your talent is to maybe start looking for alternative work, or whatever it may be. We've got a Q&A panel, we've got workshops, we've got speed networking, and this is just the start. So 2016 is the start, and we're looking to take these events all over the UK eventually.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, Hertfordshire is somewhere that is really rich for that kind of scene of actually in-person networking that's specifically for mums. I know I've done quite a few events and talks there. And
oh, fantastic.
Really vibrant place. I used to live in Hertfordshire before we...
Oh, did you? Oh, good. Well, yeah, I'm doing an event in Rickmansworth, because that's where I had my baby, that's where I live. And, I see there's just so many mums, there's so many around here who, it's such a common thing, which is why this event, I think, is going to be really popular, because, my story isn't, there's thousands and thousands of women, who just because you become a mum doesn't mean that you want to lose your whole career that you've worked really hard for. It just may mean that the 9 to 5 it doesn't suit you anymore. It doesn't mean that all your talent has to go to waste.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's about being able to create careers and create opportunities on our own terms that allow our family to flourish. Yeah. Wonderful. And obviously, with the businesses that you've worked with, which are the businesses where they really stood out for you as being kind of that thing that's really helped you to move your business forward? Because sometimes when we collaborate with clients, that happens, doesn't it, Lindsay?
Yeah, well, with regards to Mums Enterprise Roadshow, now I'm just the organiser of the event, so I just, find the venues. I've sold the exhibition stand sponsorship and doing all the marketing. I've got a business partner now, Lucy, who does all the creative. So anything that you see creatively wise, design wise, is all done by Lucy. So it's the exhibitors, every single exhibitor at this event. We've got Virgin Startup, we've got Talented Ladies Club, we've got Renault, we've got marketing agencies, recruitment agencies, franchise opportunities, and every single exhibitor are so passionate about this topic. A lot of the businesses that are actually exhibiting are mums themselves, parent-owned businesses themselves, and I think being a parent-owned business, you actually see the value in other mums, which is why seeking other ambitious mums to help them either with their business or with their franchise or whatever. I think as a parent-owned business, you actually see the value in reaching to this audience of mums.
And I think that's a really important thing that you bring up there, parent in business. One of the questions that I've had as I've been promoting this over the last few weeks has been specifically from people who are fathers in businesses as well.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, how involved is that your situation? Do you have a partner who's involved in the business that's helping you as well?
I've got my daughter's father, Andrew. He works. He's a marketing director for a big company. So to be honest, I'm not quite sure he knows half of the things what I'm not up to be honest. So no, it's just he hasn't got his head around it. But I'm really looking forward for him to come to one of the Mums Enterprise Roadshow events, because I think then he'll realise exactly what all the work I've been doing is what it's all about, really. So until you see an event, then you probably just think I'm busy doing I don't know what.
Seeing all of these mumpreneurs out there and creating these businesses that are more flexible, it's kind of almost, what about the guys?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's something that's kind of in the pipeline. I mean, obviously the event is aimed at ambitious mums, but I've had inquiries from men. Can they come? And of course they can. Can women come along who aren't mums? Of course they can. There's no, just because it's called the Mums Enterprise Roadshow, and a lot of the that's the main focus. You have to have a niche. You have to focus on something. But a lot of the content there is relevant to absolutely everybody. So yeah, we're not excluding anybody, but just because it's called Mums Enterprise Roadshow, it just means that the topics and although the topics, we've got confidence covered in workshops. That's a huge topic. but also marketing, PR, intellectual property, obviously CV writing and time management. All these different topics are fantastic for mums, but are fantastic for anybody who's ambitious, you know?
Yeah, they really are, aren't they? They're core topics, I think, just delivered in a way which is more tailored to mums. And I think what we'll see is there's more success of female entrepreneurs, and there have been more businesses started by
Yeah.
entrepreneurs in this period than any other period before. And I think particularly with the introduction of shared parental leave as well, is I think you'll
Mm.
probably begin to find more people actually who are supporting families, whether that's fathers, whether that's the older generation, particularly with the changes in women's retirement age, looking at that and actually realising, do you know what, if mums can do it whilst balancing that with young children, then actually, running your own business is an option for everybody.
Yeah,
The support's
absolutely.
out there to do it, yeah.
If you've got the idea, I suppose when planning my business, there was kind of a series of 5 different steps, because you've got to make sure that the idea is viable, that it's actually marketable and sellable, I guess. Because obviously I've had a million ideas before Little Fish, that just totally flopped, So it's not like this is, everything I've been working towards was all, it's almost like a journey. It started years ago for me. I've always wanted to run my own business. I've always been trying to think of an idea, and it took years and years and years for something to actually formulate itself into the right time. And after maternity leave for me was the perfect time. It just feels like after maternity leave you come to a crossroads in a way, and really your life is changing because you've got a brand new baby. So that means it's an opportunity to change more than just that element. I feel anyway.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so going through that process of testing the idea and whether it's viable, I think that's something really important that sometimes gets overlooked. People will see a business or see something that they've got as a hobby and actually
Yeah.
pursue it without actually testing the financial and market viability of it. So can you
Mm.
just talk us through the processes that you went through, Lindsay, to kind of explore that as you were creating
Yeah.
Little Fish?
So when I did my everything before anything even started to be planned, I wrote down on paper. This is where the conundrum bit was in my mind, because I was thinking, okay, if I return to work, my salary would be this. If I drop a day, that's a 20% cut. Childcare is X amount. And I was working through all these numbers, and I was thinking, at the end of the day, after everything, even after leaving Molly for 11 hours a day, 4 days a week, one day, putting my full-time hours down by one day, I'd actually worked out that I'd only be left, after all my bills were paid, with £600. And I was thinking, I'd be working 11 hours, leaving money 11 hours a day, 4 days a week, to earn literally in my bank after all bills £600 a month. And I was thinking, I've been working for 16 years, and if I can't make £600 a month on my own, to the equivalent of what it would be after all my other bills are paid, then I must be doing something wrong.
Yeah, that's
So then I figured out how much cash I'd be left in the bank, and that was my target of setting up a business. That was my target, is to just earn that amount of money that I'd be left with if I was working full time with Molly in childcare. That's how it all started for me.
yeah.
And when it came to the research, but then I started to, because I've got a marketing background, I was able to do environmental audits, a pestle analysis, looking at the legal, environmental, and all these other elements that might affect the business, and obviously competitor research as well, looking at what competitors are doing, and how you could potentially make yourself a little bit different. So yeah, there's quite a lot of things that went into the research element before I even started to do my surveys, which is where then I tested the marketplace.
Mm, excellent, excellent. So, I guess how long did it take from starting for you to firstly achieve target and then for you to go beyond that target? Because it's
Yeah,
all
well,
businesses. So if you could share a little on.
so when I was in maternity leave, I was probably about 4 months off my end of maternity before I started to, really do all these sums and thinking, actually, I only need to earn £600. Then I did my marketing audit, I did my research. I put a pin date in, which was June, and I actually launched the business on the 2nd of June 2014. And when I say launch, that is when my website went live.
Mm-hmm.
And then I only had 2 to 3 months worth of. I didn't have any funding for this. I just had about £2,000 in the bank from my saving up my maternity pay, and I had about 2 to 3 months when if I didn't get a client, I would have then had to consider alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really just literally living on the edge, and I gave myself 2 to 3 months to get a client. I was able to target a database of businesses that I'd identified through the research process that I'd already completed, and I managed to get a client within 2 months. And it was from a totally cold call, absolutely cold call, just through the press office, and they referred me internally, and it was for the Skills Funding Agency, and I've worked with them ever since.
Fantastic. I mean, that is a really good example of going straight in there for actually what's quite a big client.
Yeah, yeah.
They're quite high profile with the work that they do. And I think for other mums that are listening out, it's a real, do you know what? It's step over that thing of confidence and to do it and to pick up the phone if you've identified who your ideal clients are,
Yeah.
people you'd love
Yeah.
to work with. That's absolutely fantastic for that to be the first client as well, because I'm guessing that maybe has also opened up other opportunities for you because of the nature of their work as well.
Yeah, well, it's so strange because I was an apprentice myself 16 years ago, as I mentioned earlier, and I actually, my very first client, it was a skills funding agency, and I was helping them organise the National Apprenticeship Award.
Oh,
and it's really spooky because I approached, where I got the number from was the actual National Apprenticeship website.
yeah.
And I know, obviously, you don't want to. I kind of know I needed to speak. Sometimes the press office is a really good way to go because they're more linked to marketing and events. So I, instead of calling just the general number, I called the press office number, and that's how I got in there. But I looked at National Apprenticeship Service because I was so passionate about apprenticeships anyway. I wanted to get involved. Yeah, and I know they do events. I just gave them a call, and I've literally worked with them ever since. I did an event at the Shard in March for them as part of National Apprenticeship Week, and then I have to tender for each job as if I was a new client. But I seem to win, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's all about building those relationships as well. And again, as you said, if it's something your client does that you're hugely interested in and hugely passionate about, so I'm just going to ask you this as an ex-apprentice myself as well. I started with BT as an apprentice for my sins.
Oh, brilliant!
18 years ago, and I would just want to check, is it one of those things that you do want to create within your business as you go and expand? Because I know something I've thought about within my business is as we expand, I'd actually quite like to take apprentices on and bring them in and bring them through.
Actually, definitely, 100%. I mean, I really want to get involved with the there's a new event management apprenticeship that's been agreed by the government, and I really, I'm hopefully going to be a part of forming the kind of assessment criteria for that. Because obviously I run an event management agency, I organise events, and I was an apprentice. So yeah, I'm really passionate still about supporting apprenticeship. I'd love, eventually for me to take on my own apprentices. Yeah, totally, 100%. Because university isn't for everybody, and now more than ever, that's just so apparent.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the thing with an apprenticeship is it allows somebody to be building the skills alongside doing the qualifications at the same time, and doing the two alongside, they inform each other. So actually, and from the point of view of being quite a cost-effective way as well to recruit and hire into the business, actually, when you hire somebody who's more experienced in the marketplace and already, if you like, fully formed, you've got to do a lot of shaping of that individual, and it may or may not work. Whereas
Yeah,
if you've got an apprentice who has that enthusiasm and that willingness and has come to you because it's a real opportunity, and I don't know how you feel, but I was incredibly grateful for my apprenticeship because it was giving me that access to education as well as the practical experience. Um,
yeah, definitely. But I work better. I mean, I've always worked better. So I didn't do college. I didn't do university at all. I just went straight into the apprenticeship. And I worked even when I was doing I did my CIM marketing diploma about 7 years ago, and I did that. Didn't I did that whilst working full time. And I think the only reason why I could probably successfully complete it is because I was able to write my assessments about what I'd been doing in work.
yeah,
So for me, I couldn't have done it any other way. I couldn't. I have to apply it to real knowledge and real experiences.
absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that we have options to do as women running our own businesses is decide what that input is that we give back and that contribution, if you like, towards society, towards making a better world.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the youth of today. And what I'm also very mindful about is I think parent-owned businesses will actually be ahead of the enterprises when the millennial talent starts coming through the ranks, because kids of today, they won't stand for the 9 to 5. They won't be bossed about whether you got to be in, this time or that time. And I think people now, parent-owned businesses are the best, and flexible working businesses are the best to make the most of the top talent when it comes through, because we'll already be flexible working, will already be a modern business. And that's how I'm intending to grow my business, is by being a forward-thinking, modern company, and using flexible work and not being scared of, trusting people out in the field, to build a remote business. So I think parent-owned businesses have actually got a bit of a head start with the whole talent that's going to be coming through.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point because flexible working is not just something for parents, and I think this is a real misconception around flexible working.
Yeah,
Flexible working is a something that can work for everybody. As a case in point, I mean, my background was obviously telecommunications. We embraced it fairly early on, so about 20 years ago. Even as I was starting as an apprentice, I was trusted to be on flexible working contracts, to work from home if I needed to. And it, I also
that's it.
saw that
It's for everybody.
it was the norm for everybody. It wasn't a concession giving to working mothers. It was something that they were actually encouraging, senior management and men to do, and they were embracing it much more fully. And actually, what it allowed for, and what I got a really good sense of as role models, actually, because I worked in a male-dominated environment, so a lot of these guys are my peers, they were able to step in and be present for their families much more while still getting the job done. And I think as a role model, that was really, really powerful to see that in action. I think you're absolutely right. For people coming through, the fact that smaller businesses do have to work flexibly, but also there's cost advantages to doing it that way as well. It allows people to give their best when they can give their best, to step back if they need to step back. If you build a flexible resource pool, you can actually make it work for everybody with a lot of thought going into how you deliver flexible working and where those boundaries are.
Yeah, absolutely. And but what I find as well is, it's the big corporates that are afraid of it, because they don't understand that somebody asking to work flexibly is actually asking to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, have access to email whenever they can, work through the night. And I think it's, again, a misconception that if you ask them to work flexibly, it means you're going to be sitting on your bum in your PJs watching telly. It's
Yeah,
not the case at all. It's actually people asking to work their flat off.
yeah. I've coached a lot of women who went back into corporates after having their children. and their experience, they returned on 3 and 4 day contracts, and they did actually find, they were working above and beyond or achieving better results than the people that were full time. So I think you're right, that commitment that somebody gives when they know that they've got that flexibility, they actually almost put a little bit more heart into what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a shame really for the ladies on who tend to look after a baby, because they almost feel pressured to over deliver to kind of prove people wrong, which is a shame.
I don't know if it's pressure to over deliver or simply because they were enjoying doing what they were doing actually for some of the women.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's really great because the event you're doing, it sounds like you've got a number of corporate sponsors that are coming together as well for the Mums Enterprise Roadshow. How are you working with them to help them shape their ideas on this agenda? Is it something that you kind of get into the conversation when you can with these people?
When it comes to shaping the agenda, actually, my whole heart is into the attendees. Now, the actual exhibitors and sponsors are fantastic because they've identified that this is a target audience they want to reach. But in actual fact, every single thing I'm doing is the attendees. If the attendees get something out of the day, if they either get inspired, if they find a new business venture, even a new business partner, then the event will be a success. And if that happens, then all the exhibitors and sponsors would have had a successful event as well. So my whole mindset is making sure the event's delivered for the attendees, because then everybody will have a good event if it does. So I've done a lot of surveys about the audience. I've asked people to really comment about their challenges, and a lot of the challenges that are coming up from women are fear. There's a fear. There's childcare. There is time. There's money. So all these things that I think, when I'm seeking exhibitors and sponsors, I'm always doing it backwards. I'm always seeking exhibitors that can meet those challenges, and every one of them are very passionate about doing that.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think that makes a real difference is when the people who are in there and exhibiting do actually get that and they're behind what you're doing rather than just seeing this as an opportunity to access, if you like, the female economic.
That is exact. Honestly, that I'm so passionate. Honestly, I can't even get over how important it is for me. I've even said no to some exhibitors. It's not a fate. It's not a fair. No Christmas cards are going to be on sale or anything like that. The whole event is every single person that's exhibiting or involved in any way is all about helping ambitious mums or ambitious women or ambitious people get to where they want to be. And the 4 topics we're covering are retraining completely, finding flexible work, starting a business, or indeed growing a business, because there's a lot of mums out there who actually run a successful business already and now at the stage where they actually need to grow. So that's quite a big element as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Honestly, I'm really so excited. It's scary though because it's just over 2 months away.
That's exciting. So tell me then, because one of the things that I've found since, because I'm probably about 2 years in terms of actually stepping out of corporate full time to run my business. One of the things that's been really important has been support of other women in community around me. Where do you go to get your support and that that encouragement that you need sometimes as a female entrepreneur?
Yeah, well, I suppose that has been a challenge because working in my kitchen, and I've worked. My business partner Lucy, she's based in Staffordshire. She's just actually had a baby in November, so she's only returned to work really properly in March.
Yeah.
So we work very remotely. Social media, Cheryl, she's come on board to help us with social media now, and again, she's based somewhere else, so it can be quite isolating, and sometimes it does get frustrating that I haven't really spoken to anybody or seen anybody all day, and it's really annoying. Nobody to vent to. But I'm really lucky that technology has really helped, because obviously there's Skype, there's all this technology to help us work more collaboratively together. But also Hannah, actually, one of my sponsors is called parentedladiesclub.com. One of the co-founders is called Hannah Martin, and she has been really helpful for me because she's so talented, she's so skilled, and she's so, passionate about what she does. And she's actually growing the UK's #1 website it's like a magazine style website for mums or women. And she's actually been fantastic because whenever I come off the phone to her, she makes me feel better. It's really weird. So she's been really helpful. And then obviously networking, I still try and get out there to networking events myself. I attend a lot of events myself. So it's getting out there and actually, interacting with my local business community as well. That helps just keep me going.
Excellent. It is really important to have that, isn't it? Your business buddies that you can pick up the phone to that understand, because I think, if you're talking to your friends that are still in corporate or they're still doing 9 to 5 jobs, we have really different challenges.
Yeah.
That we need to embrace and things that we need to figure out. And sometimes it's just that conversation with somebody in the listening ear that can just instantly help you sort out exactly what the next step needs to be.
Exactly, because it is a roller coaster. You feel like you take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. And even though you could still, I'm so confident in Mum's Enterprise Roadshow, and we say shoot for the moon, even if you miss your line amongst the stars. That is our whole thing about our theme. But I'm so confident in it. But there are days, when you feel, oh my, what am I doing? What have I done? Have I bitten off too much? But you get it back again. It's just a momentary lapse, and then you start, shooting for the moon again. And if you don't feel scared, I don't think you're pushing yourself enough. If you haven't got a really sticky feeling in your stomach, that's the feeling that keeps you going and drives you and makes you determined to make it all work.
Absolutely. When you have those setbacks, though, because everybody does have days like that where it's not quite clicking. What do you find helps you to change your mindset around that?
Often it's really weird, but I think it's being organised, because it's overwhelmed, I think. And once I start to then, I use Asana for example to help manage my workload, and just spending time to get organised again really helps because then my mind feels decluttered, and also clearing the space around me. If there's a ton of washing up to do, I have to get it done then, because it's all about my mind feeling in control and clear. So if ever I start to have those feelings, I just put down what I'm doing, get organised, and get my workflow back on track, basically.
Yeah, I think stepping away, but as you say, it's that thing of breathe, stop, plan, reassess where you are, and put yourself back in control. And I think
prioritise. Write a new list and put the things that you ultimately have to do to the top. And because it's easy to work on things that you could do in a week time. The jobs that aren't the most important. So it's stepping back and reorganising, and because things change all the time, it goes up, down, turns around, jumps around in circles. So you've got to be agile and nimble to change. Your week won't go to plan all the time.
Yeah, and particularly if you're doing it with children that are perhaps preschool age and that are at home, you have to take that opportunity. As soon as there's a nap, you're really doing something strategically important, right?
Yeah, I remember my child, Molly doesn't, she's 2.5, and because when I started the business, Molly only went into childcare for 8 hours a week, or maybe even less. Now she goes into about 20, 25 hours because, I think nap times are very important because it keeps your childcare costs down. If you can kind of work your routine and childcare routine around them, that's what I did. I'd pick up Molly for 12 just after a lunch, knowing that she'd sleep for another 2 hours when she got home, which that saved me a tenner a day,
Yeah, and it's doing things, isn't it? It's planning so that you're doing things that kind of give them the exercise and the play and the interactive time with you, because if they do that, they're going to go down sleep.
Flexible childcare as well. I've got a fantastic childminder. She is so flexible, and she has been from the very beginning. I give my hours to her on a Sunday night for the next week, and no week is really ever the same. So that I found that's a real big help for me is, the hours have increased slowly. Like I say, she started started there, it was only eight hours a week, which was hardly anything.
Yeah.
But it was just enough for me to make those sales calls, those cold calls.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I'm guessing that helps her as well, particularly if she's managing her own family. It's increasing as there's the ability there to facilitate.
Well, yes, and that's another element I'm hoping to have at our events is, I know there's a lot of women out there who potentially might want to become childminders or go into childcare themselves. So that's another, that's what a lot, I've known quite a few mums that have decided to do that after they've had their own family.
Yeah, yeah. Lovely. Okay, and what would be your number one tip for anybody who is listening that may be thinking about starting a business and taking that first step? What would be your one tip you would give them?
One tip. I think the most important tip, I've got a blog actually, and I'll try and share it with everybody on social media around the Mother's Means business, is research. Like we said earlier, if you've got a fantastic idea, and this doesn't mean ask your friends and family, it means go to strangers. So if you've got a business idea, you've written your plans, you've got all your thoughts out on paper, you've done all your figures and everything else, and you've got your idea, what I've done for both of my ideas, Little Fish and Mum's Enterprise, is do a survey, an anonymous survey on SurveyMonkey, and send it out on social media. Party Ladies Club helped me; they sent out the survey link to their audience, and it's get the feedback. Even 5 questions, just get feedback from strangers. I think that's the most important thing.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And how can people find out about what you're doing, Lindsey? How can they reach you and connect with you on social media?
We are on Facebook, Mum's Enterprise Roadshow. My Twitter handle is @mumsenterprise for Twitter. And the website is mumsenterprise.events. So they can find everything through there. And there's a link to Little Fish as well through the Mum's Enterprise website, because I think for this Mother's Mean business, the Mum's Enterprise Roadshow is something that I really want to tell everybody about. But of course, Little Fish Event Management, it's littlefisheventmanagement.com.
Lovely.
So you can just check that out and see what I'm up to.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us, Lindsey, and I wish you every success with the upcoming events, and look forward to seeing the Mum's Enterprise Roadshow grow. Fantastic.
I know, I'm so excited, and I'm so looking forward to everything that's happening this week, and I think that you're doing fantastic by setting all these interviews up, and it's good. I'm going to listen to them all because it's really important for us all to support and share everything about this week.
Fantastic. Well, it's been
Thanks so much.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you.